I welcome you all on behalf of today's webinar session to all the participants, and we are going to start within 5 minutes. So please be with us. I request all the participants of it to mute yourself. Thank you. Shudeshna ma'am, welcome to today's session. Dr. Shudeshna Shaha, she is our today's speaker for the topic. And Shudeshna ma'am, can you please switch on the camera? So, and today's session is going to be recorded, and of course, it will be published publicly in YouTube link. And if anyone would like to see, they can. Welcome, ma'am. Welcome. Shudeshna ma'am, I'm giving you the key for your screen sharing option. So you can share the screen to our participants and people can easily able to see your presentation as well. Ma'am, we can't hear you. We can't hear you, ma'am. Is there any problem from your end? Other participants, please mute yourself. Other participants, kindly mute yourself. Shudeshna ma'am, can you able to hear? I think there is a problem with her end with the mic. Just our today's speaker is having problem with the mic, and she will be joining soon. So in the meantime, I just want to share something that what is today's very special topic, and why it is been so needed in this current scenario. And COVID-19, we have to live with COVID-19. There is no other option. But the main thing is the human rights issues regarding the migrants laborers is on high, and they are facing so many problems, troubles, and they are traveling thousands of miles in their barefoot. And pregnant women are suffering a lot during, they have to give birth to the child while they are actually traveling. So we can actually understand the scenario is not very much comfortable, as well as not very much human friendly. So I really welcome you all, and thank you so much for joining in this short notice. Actually, this is a first webinar I'm going to start. I'm Dr. Swati Chakraborty. I'm a fellow of KAICIID. KAICIID is an organization based in Vienna. And as a team, we plan to launch a website. The website will come soon in June. And the website will be full of information regarding COVID and how we can actually fight back even after this COVID also. So full of information regarding this, lots of articles from different dimension, from medical practitioners, from researcher, from academicians, from student perspective, that how we can actually know something from their perspective. It is not the issue of an individual, it's an issue of the whole community. The holistic approach is also there. So I thought that let's start with a very burning issue, that is migrant laborers, migrant workers, and how they are suffering in this COVID-19. So Dr. Sudeshna Saha, she is assistant professor from Vishwabharati University, Shantiniketan. As we all know, it's very famous. It's founded by Tagore. So it's a very prestigious university in West Bengal. And we thought that let's have a discussion. She's from social science department. She's assistant professor stage 2. So, but she's having some issues in mic. So she will be joining soon. Meanwhile, I just addressing that what is the purpose of this webinar. And after webinar also, we will post this recording with all the audience perspective, with all the audience what you are thinking about this COVID and how we can fight back with COVID situation, and how migrants laborers are suffering in this scenario. So after that also we will be discussing soon. Sudeshna ma'am, can you able to hear now? Okay, she's joining, I think, trying to join. Hello? Yeah, Sudeshna ma'am, please unmute yourself. I think you can able to hear. Yeah, perfect, perfect. Unmute yourself, ma'am. Unmute, unmute.
Okay, huh.
Yes. Now,
Yes.
finally, welcome to our first webinar sessions. That I already discussed with the participants that what is the purpose of this webinar, because everyone really need to know that what is the scenario of today's society. She is from social work department. So she knows best in in my knowledge about the scenario. So let's have a talk with Sudeshna ma'am. I am just to mute my myself and giving the
But
key.
I have to just share the PPT with you,
Yes.
right?
So no, you can share the screen only. You have the option because I already made you the host.
Okay, one sec. Share, right?
Yes, share the screen.
Mm.
Lots of people are joining, so thank you so much. Shubhrata, I can see you. Yes. Hello, Shubhrata. She's one of my author in my edited book. So.
Hello, Dr. Swati.
Hello, hello.
Yeah, glad to meet you
Glad to meet
online.
you online. So
yeah,
I think COVID gives us the opportunity to.
Yeah, definitely. Yes, to interact on a. Yeah, definitely.
Also, I can able to see.
Madam, I shared it to in your, WhatsApp. Can you just share it here? Because I'm not getting the option of sharing it here.
You can share, ma'am, directly.
Is it? Share, but okay, one sec. Screen.
I'm stop sharing. You can able to share, I think. Otherwise, if you want, I can share from my.
Yeah, you share because one sec.
Okay. Yes. Can everybody
Yeah.
see today's presentation? So,
Yes, yes.
perfect, ma'am. So I'm muting myself.
So yes. So so one slide. I mean, since you are sharing, so may I start? Will you do the I mean changing of the slides because since you are sharing.
So you just, after finishing one by one, you just say that
Yeah, I will just
change.
change. I will just tell
Yes.
you to change.
Yeah.
So good evening, everyone. This is a particular time when there are a lot of challenges together we are facing. Outside me, we are having the Amphan going on. We are also facing COVID. I mean, for the past couple of months, we are having the COVID crisis. We have the migrant labor problem, and on top of that, we are now having the Amphan, which is one of the major challenges because after 1999, it is now referred to be a super cyclone. So in this particular atmosphere, when lot of challenges together. So one of the challenges that we will deal to tonight is the migrant workers. Ma'am, the first slide. Uh, the first slide. Who are the migrant population? Now, according to ILO, it is said that the migrant population are the persons who migrate from one state to another in pursuit of some work. And it is because that the migrant workers are so mobile and they are made so much available that they agree to work in any environment and with a very low wages. Migration boosts the working age population and they contribute to human capital and technological progress. So we find that they are very readily available and they are ready to work in any work environment, and that too for a low wage. So they are, easily they are absorbed in and they are ready to move and relocate from one particular place to the other. Next slide, please, ma'am. The reason for migration. It is said that due to the, am I audible and, to everyone?
Dr. Steshna, ma'am.
yes, yes,
Okay,
you are
okay.
audible.
So, yeah, the reason for migration, it is seen that due to the rural neglect, there is a particular trend that, the urban or the cities should be developed. So due to the rural neglect and seasonal agriculture, a large section of the rural population, especially from the Bimaru states, they migrate to the urban areas in search of livelihood. And there is an attitudinal problem also, that they believe that working in factories is far more better than working in open agricultural lands. So this leads to urban pull and a rural push. Furthermore, the strategic urban-centric growth, which is one of the product of urbanization and modernization, which is not sustainable though, leads to overflooding and overflowing of the migrant population, which is very much detrimental in the crisis times as we are seeing now. So this is a time when some reverse migration is happening from the urban to back to the rural areas. Next slide, ma'am. Now, this particular picture, it has been said that it became a face of this particular crisis. This is a particular picture of a man whose name is Ram Kumar Pandit, and the journalist who was just passing by, and suddenly he got stuck by this particular man. See the picture of this man with his all the veins been visible so vividly. This particular person is stranded on the roads of Delhi for 3 days as he overhears the death of his son in Begusarai in Bihar, and he cannot reach his the son who is in his deathbed. So it shows the helplessness, the helplessness of a person who cannot be by the side of his son absolutely at the last few days of his life. So he says that मजदूर का कोई देश नहीं होता है. Mazdoor, I mean, they just, they toil hard for others, and nobody is there to, care for them or to be by their side in their trying times. Next slide. Yes, another picture of, this picture became very much, famous, and this, it became viral. You can see the pathetic and the helpless condition of a mom who is tired, carrying her son, and the son cannot walk, and his feet are dangling on a luggage, and she's walking from maybe one state to another, and so you can see that how helpless child is now absolutely surrendered himself on top of a luggage that her mom is carrying back to her native land. So it is also said that the migrant laborers believe that they are just the cog in the wheel spinning continuously until they run out of life. So you can see the helpless and the hapless condition of the migrant laborers as they commute from one particular place to the other. Next slide. Yes. So the next slide says that they need painkillers, they need painkillers to keep their limbs moving so that they can, travel from one particular place to the other. So they need painkillers more than packages, which are announced in their names. So they need painkillers and not package to keep them onto their feet. Next slide, please. Another very grimful picture, of 18 migrant workers. We all know that they were traveling from Maharashtra to Lucknow, and they were being caught by the policemen in Indore. And these 18 men, to escape, so that nobody can catch hold of them, they were inside the mixture grinder, the cement mixture grinder. And they said that the heat inside the mixture grinder is far more bearable than their hunger. So this reflects that, we are in a digitalized world, and we are boasting about going and conquering the other planets nearby, and we also want to build our houses in the space station. We are conquering the world with artificial intelligence, and in this particular time there are a section of the population who cannot who has to hide themselves and be inside the mixture grinder so as to escape the furies of the policemen who will catch hold of them and beat them. So they feel that the heat inside is bearable than the heat inside their stomach. Next. Yes, another grim picture of the migrants. On them, the disinfectants were sprayed. These migrants were asked to close their eyes so that the authorities can spray disinfectant which contains bleach. So these are absolutely in the first few days when this COVID, the lockdown was just announced, and there was a mass exodus that the first few days when these migrants started to move from one particular place to the other, and so the question is that who are they going to kill, coronavirus or human beings? So you can see that they are being made to sit on the roads, and disinfectants were mercilessly been sprayed on top of them. So that is the question, that whom they are going to kill. It is the virus or the human beings themselves. Okay, then the next one. So the grim reality. The cities seem unfamiliar, foreign, with hardly any food to eat, money to pay rent, and to sustain their families. It's all emptiness. They are being driven out of their accommodation as they are unable to pay rent. So poet Gulzar says that that they will go and die where there is life. So is the urgency to go back home. So the glitz and glamour of city life no longer attract them. They need to be treated first as human beings. So the cities where every machine has stopped working, the only thing that works is their hands and legs that they use to go home. But the most pathetic condition is that hundreds die on the way back home. Many commit suicide in desperation even after reaching home, as they are not able to feed themselves and their families. Next slide, ma'am. Yes, so we can see that the migration crisis in the face of COVID. We can see the truck, which shows that they have been just crumbled together. One line over the other, and the government has hardly taken these people seriously. System acted late, and sudden announcement of the lockdown added to their tragedy. So in spite of the cash transfer, as Delhi CM is claiming that he has transferred 5,000 rupees in the accounts of the poor, free food has been provided to them, free ration has been provided to them through the fair price shop. But that does not, stop this helpless and hapless people who flee from the harsh reality and they travel thousands of miles and kilometers back home. Next. Another strange picture that is taken from Purulia in West Bengal, where, in spite of their reaching their native, they are not allowed inside. The workers, so they are not allowed inside because people fear that they might carry the disease back to their natives and villages. So out of the desperation, these workers, they socially isolate themselves by quarantining on trees, which they find much more safer. So much more safer. So they risk their lives by staying in the branches of the trees that they consider to be their safer abode. Next, please. So we can see that these people, they are following the social distancing, which are the terms which are new to us and also to them. So the workers are often sometimes, there was an MP who recently, referred them to be as the corona bombs. They're carrying the disease home, and the train that are carrying them are referred to as Samik Special, but also are sometimes referred to as Corona Express. And many of the state governments are reluctant to allow buses and trains to enter their states, fearing contamination. So, this particular people who are absolutely in the peripheries of the society, they are the people who, struggle so hard to make both ends meet, but at the same time, they are being treated so differently. And even the support of the government, sometimes it is absolutely more as it is shown, but sometimes it's absolutely lacuna, which is lying inside. Next, please. The Jan and Jahan dichotomy. News of India shows how people are cramped into the trucks and tempos and lorries, sleeping on the floors of the buses, stations, shops, roadsides, ignoring Modi ji's do gaj ki duri, bahut hai zaruri formula, and their desperation to reach home, disregarding what the finance minister has announced for them to restore Jan and Jahan concept. They say that when the Jan is in stake, Jahan too becomes meaningless. The government is busy with loan creation rather than permanent job creation. The Home Minister announced that 1,000 crores to be allocated from the PM Care funds to help these migrant workers. But the question remains that when will this money reach their hands? Next slide, ma'am. Some of the, the heart-wrenching stories. These penniless migrants are always neglected so far as their economic and social securities are concerned. Though there is an economic boost with the FM's announcement of pumping 3 lakh crore rupees to the MSMEs where they may be working, but that would not attract these workers to stay back. These thelawalas, rickshawalas, balloonwalas, hawkers, cobblers, carpenters, masons, domestic helps are hardly registered. They are hired and fired readily. So I would like the audience to, have a idea about Karl Marxian, the labor concept, because Marx has championed the cause of the class consciousness among the labor class that has brought in the class revolution. And on the basis of that, it formed the classless egalitarian society. So there is, a sort of, we can draw a metaphor. We can say that this exodus also proves their revolutionary move back to their native lands. Is pandemic a leveler? Yes, it is, as it brought the entire community, irrespective of whether they're haves or have-nots, at equal risk of fighting the crisis together, but of course at different capacities. So we find that this particular pandemic is a leveler. We are all fighting in it. So we are all in different boats. The boats may be of different shapes and sizes, but the storm, is the same. So pandemic is a leveler. So whether you belong to the haves or you belong to the have-not class, which is very common term been used by Karl Marx, but he says that it has led us to equal risk of fighting the crisis together, but of course in a different capacity. Next slide, ma'am. They prevail at the mercy of the society. According to the report of Committee on Unorganized Sector Statistics in 2012, these migrant workers, they constitute 93% of the overall workforce and contribute to 50% of gross national product. Yet, such a large workforce lack clear legal protection. There are laws aimed at the informal sector covering working conditions, social security of the workers, but none of them directly deals with jobless migrants leaving cities. The report, Employment in the Informal Sector and Conditions of Informal Employment in 2015, shows that 82% of those employed in both agricultural and non-agricultural sector, except of that of crop and animal husbandry, didn't have a written job contract. 77.3% didn't get paid leave, and 69 were not eligible for any social security benefit. Given the lack of legal mandates, no bargaining power, these migrant workers have simply left to fend for themselves during the crisis as serious as a pandemic. So this requires urgent attention and intervention. Next. So reverse economic gear. Today, what shall happen if this migrant workers never returns? The industries will run out of human resources to function properly. The finance minister already announced 40,000 crore to MGNREGA to boost up the Indian agriculture, with minimum wages increased by rupees 20 from rupees 182 to 2002 for all the agri laborers with a job card. So the migrant laborers shall join the agricultural labor force for sustenance soon after they reach their native lands, with hardly any plans or maybe no plans in the near future to return to the urban areas. So in that particular case, the urban, the factories, the houses, and the hawker class, whoever does the work of the hawkers in the cities, the small scale, the small scale business that they do in the cities, they will all bear the brunt. So some immediate, medium, and to long-term comprehensive policy measures is needed to counter the effects and chart out the paths towards economic recovery. Next. So what is the way forward? Quick amendments need to be made in the Interstate Migrant Workmen Regulation of Employment and Conditions of Service Act of 1979, which is one of the most shoddily implemented laws in the country, but at least it protects this vulnerable workforce, especially during the pandemic-induced lockdown. Another act is that needs serious attention is that the Center's Occupational Safety, Health and Working Condition Code Bill, which still lies, in the Parliament, which is pending in the Parliament, and it is examined by the Standing Committee on Labour, and they recommended that a separate chapter for migrant laborers should be incorporated in the bill, aimed to insulate the migrant workers from any exigencies. The Interstate Migrant Workmen Regulation, Employment and Condition of Service Act 1979 has a provision for registration of these workers by labor contractors in state of origin and in the destination state. So wherever they are originating from and where they are going. Such a provision, if that would have been there as an official record for migrant workers, in this case of exigency, then the wages paid to them and the nature of work assigned to them would have already been there in the state records. This also should have involved the payment of minimum wages and equal pay for equal work. And if anybody violates, in case of any violation regarding this provision, the minimum punishable years will be 2 years jail terms. So we find a lot of amendments needed to be done, and it should be strictly monitored, and necessary legal provisions should be taken in case of any violation. Next. In the conclusion, I should say that these migrant workers or the migrant labor force are the main cogs of the economic wheels of our society. They shall never be neglected. The state has never taken this human capital seriously. The states have no data bank or registration of how many workers are migrating inside and outside the state. The data would have helped the state not only in reaching out relief and assistance to these needy workers, but also would have prevented them against desperation to make an onward journey back home. These workers should be trained and developed. They should be given capital to start their own enterprises. So mere freebies, which is announced by the government, won't help, and it is not absolutely not sustainable, as they are an indispensable part of Atmanirbhar Bharat. So this was a very short and a quick reflection upon some of the grim situations which is existing in today's society, and such pandemics has brought in the desperation, helplessness and haplessness of this particular working class. And we see with our lot of heavy heart that every single day hundreds of migrant laborers, I think 350 to 400 by now, every time they're dying on the road. They're so helpless. They're dying in desperation. They're dying out of hunger. They have been provided food in the various ration shops, but they say that standing and in safer distance, sometimes they it is very much difficult for them to bear that pain of waiting. Sometimes this particular labor force, especially in states like Mumbai and all states like Maharashtra, Mumbai, and other metropolitan countries, metropolitan cities, there's the house and the rooms that they are staying in are so overcrowded that there is no social distancing, and there is desperation to come out. They cannot stay put up, locked down, which is sometimes I feel that it is if you have food in your stomach and if you have all the luxuries of your life, lockdown may be part of that luxury, but not for the people who struggle a lot to make the both ends meet. So I welcome suggestions from the audience to to collectively to deliberate upon that how their problem can be solved, and if such pandemics do occur in the near future, then what will be the way out. So I would leave the floor open for more discussions from the audience. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Sudeshna, for this wonderful explanation, because we all know, we can able to see in different social medias, these pictures are almost viral, and the explanation and the current need to act, not to just react and emojis, just be the point, and how government and as a team, as I think in this virtual world, from Italy, from Sudan, so many people are actually connected. And I think it's not only a national scenario, I think it's international scenario. Almost you shared that picture, crowded in a bus, and not in a bus, I think in a tempo. And I think hundred of migrants laborers are traveling from Maharashtra to Agra. A similar picture,
Yes.
It's reminding us the situation in Rohingyas, isn't it?
Yes.
in a same
Yes.
kind of situation for them also. So I think the what would be the best practice, what can be the solution. I think with this kind of discussions, we can have some solutions. And if we write something on concrete as a article forms or as a paper or as an editorial even, to publish in a paper. So I think that would create at least action, not only the reaction. So I really welcome, I don't want to talk much. I really open the floor and want to have some questions, want to have some feedback, suggestions that how we can actually improve the scenario. With all your suggestions, please, sir, ma'am, or whoever is present in this webinar, please suggest us.
Can I react? I'm Professor Shiv Prasad. I'm an anthropologist. Can I talk?
Yes.
You see, there are a couple of things I must tell you is, let us not use the word social distancing. That is a wrong word to use. Though government and others are doing it, it is a physical distancing. Primarily.
Yeah, now the term has been used. I mean, term has been rectified as physical distancing.
They must have used it, but we as social scientists should not use it, because social distancing has very negative connotations, and that is one thing. Second is the expectation that government will do something. In fact, government has done nothing, because from the day one, they have never thought of the migrants. If they have ever thought of migrants, then they would have first allowed them to reach their homes, then planned the whole lockdown. It was not done. And in fact, they have even not thought of that even for a week or 10 days. And when the migrants became restless, when they wanted to migrate, go back, then they started putting police and others. Police brutality has become too much. And in fact, there is another this thing, I don't know whether you have seen that. I've seen in a website. The police are giving cake, birthday cake to little better off people and beating the migrant workers. So the state never treated these people in that manner. That's one thing. Second, you must also know the kind of package that is announced. That package doesn't help the poor. It is to privatize. It is basically to make whatever existing kind of forms are destroyed. And thirdly, many states, especially in UP and others, they have virtually nullified the labor laws, which is more dangerous. That means whatever security they have under ILO and other kinds of enactments, which we have accepted and we have adopted, they are nullified. So which means the state is not for the poor, and the state has actually is acting on behalf of the others. In fact, the very way the lockdown was planned was wrong, and the very timing of that is also wrong, because they've delayed it. There are other political agendas. So I'm not going to go into those kinds of things, but basically what I want to tell you is when we analyze, we must look at the way in which the whole process has begun and how this process was anti-labor or anti-migrants. Because why did the migrants go? Migrants have moved out because the conditions in the rural are destroyed, because you have in many places you have corporatized agriculture. You have now we are seeing the negative aspects of agriculture, because after Green Revolution, now the rates of this thing have come down, production has come down, profits have come down. In fact, input costs have gone up. All these are important to keep in mind. That's why people have no alternative than to migrate. When they migrate, there is no security. Only in Kerala, they have some kind of a listing, and they have a kind of certain policies which are not there in many other states. So I think we must look at all these factors when we try and concretize our whether it is in writing or in terms of other things. I want to share this. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Shiv sir, and I really welcome that whatever Shiv sir said, that we must not use the term social distancing. It is now replaced with physical distancing rather. But my question is, after ratification of so many international conventions, and India is fighting back in its best way, but still the question of uh, survival strategies, not very much good for the poor, and even the dead bodies are not being claimed, and we don't know actually how many are dead actually in actual numbers. Something is
No, but
missing. So
no, but
yeah, even in West Bengal, I can say you that the count of the dead bodies has not been mentioned even.
It has been hidden.
So yeah, it's hidden actually. So even we don't know that what will be the scenario after reaching these migrants to West Bengal. I'm telling you because I'm from West Bengal, so I can share my point of view from a resident of West Bengal. And even Shudeshna ma'am also put some light on that. Yes, Shubrata, please share your views also. Yes.
Yeah, hello everyone. Dr. Sudeshna, it was a nice presentation. I have also few observation to make because I belong to Orissa, and Orissa actually saw a major spike in the cases after the migrants returned from the other states. So this spike was not only in numbers, but also in that kind of a social isolation, and in Marxian terms, if we use the word alienation. So what happened? Like when we are using Marxian terms of labor class, let's not forget about the term alienation, because what happened that when they are leaving the destination or the place where they had migrated, they are considered as you don't belong to our state, so you don't stay here and you spread the virus, go back to your own state. And when they're coming back to their destination state, what happens is that they are not well received by their own people or their own state, like their own society or the communities. So what is happening, they are in a dwindling situation where they don't belong to this place, or they don't belong to here, this place or that place. So in between, they face a dwindling situation. Secondly, when you are talking about a leveler, pandemic being a leveler, here I have a little observation that in risk scenario it is a leveler, definitely, because any kind of a health based pandemic is it does not see any kind of social stratification, or I will affect this class or this caste or that race. But when it comes to managing a pandemic, which is very important, there we definitely see a kind of non-leveling thing, because the rich are maybe in percentage.
That's what I said, that we are fighting in different capacities.
Yes, so in a way,
it's a leveler,
pandemic,
yeah,
pandemic is a leveler when it is posing a risk to the society. But when it comes to management, but management is again very important, because disaster management, like you do in natural disaster scenario, like now during Amphan. So it's very important that how we look at the this pandemic management scenario, that is now more important, because the risk has already come, we have all been affected. Now how do we actually resort to providing the solutions to meet this challenge, and where everyone is treated equally? Is that scenario possible in today's today's juxtaposed situation?
Yeah. So let me try to put the points together.
Sure.
This is a particular pandemic which we were absolutely not, we have not seen. Even my grandfathers, they have not seen that. Let me take the example of West Bengal. Like, they have not seen Howrah station or the airports been shut. I mean, this is a particular situation where the entire globe is facing it for the first time. Okay. There were other viruses which has affected SARS, MERS, and Nipah, and other viruses, but spreading of this virus within 2-3 months in almost near about 200 countries is for the first time. Now, coming to your point, is that it has affected one and all, but at different levels. So that is why I said we are in different boats of different shape, but in the same storm. Now, you said about the management. Now, the question is, I'm not taking the world scenario because we have seen that how the developed countries are more effective and they're absolutely helpless. Almost, वो sort of हाथ उठा दिया कि हम लोग के बस में नहीं है अभी. Like in America, like in Spain, Italy, we have seen how worse is the condition that they do not have even the situation wherein they could dig individual grave, and so they're making mass graveyards in huge fields to bury the dead bodies of people. So such worst is the scenario over there. I'm not taking that into consideration. Let us take India into consideration. The lockdown was announced absolutely like the demonetization was announced in November
Overnight.
2016. Overnight. Yes. In 8 o'clock, you just announced that from tonight, 12 o'clock, it is a lockdown. So that was a shock, that was a jolt, and I mean that people stranded, people anywhere outside their houses, away from their families, were just locked up in wherever situations they are. So this is a particular scenario that we are facing right from I think 24th of March. 22nd was the Janata curfew, and 24th March we are having the lockdown till date. Now my question is, in this particular lockdown scenario, when we are locked up in our respective houses, the cases have increased more than lakh. Now the question is that what next, or how will we tide over? We find that if you take West Bengal into consideration, there were, Swati madam was also telling that dead bodies are even lying inside the hospitals, where the dead bodies are lying just beside the patients who are being treated. There are states which, is not in a position to accommodate more cases. They are being allowed to make home quarantine, self-quarantine. So once a particular person is self-quarantined within the house, what if that the person's, condition becomes serious? And what if he is affecting other members of the house? Because in Indian scenario, the square feet of the houses where maximum people live are very small. So we find institutional quarantine facilities are absolutely dilapidated. Forget about the hospitals, wherein every single day nurses and doctors are getting affected. The policemen, the police personnel are getting affected. Government is making emergency meetings with DMs, and other ministries are making their announcement every day. But what about the grim reality of individual citizens, which is absolutely facing the crisis? I will relate one of my personal experience, which I just overheard today morning. My brother, who is staying abroad, one of his friend's wife just fell from the staircase and so badly hurt that she immediately needed oxygen. But she was taken to 3 hospitals. Nobody was, ready to admit her because they were busy to treat the COVID patients. And without the sufficient supply of oxygen, she, a 31-year engineer, she has breathed her last yesterday night. So we find that the health scenario is such pathetic that, the other than the COVID patients, they are not allowed in, or even if they are allowed, they are not treated immediately. So the situation is worse. So many chemo patients, cancer patients, thalassemia patients, they are suffering. They are not been getting the immediate medical attention. OPDs are shut. So the condition, the situations are grimmer, and day by day the situations are severe. Media, I don't know how much polished news are being broadcasted every day, but grim reality is very much serious. So we doubt that what management has the authority, whom to blame. Should we blame ourselves, or should we blame the society? Should we blame the government? Whom to blame? But actually the situation is growing pathetic day by day. And today there was a news that Oxford University, who was coming up with a particular, mandate of a vaccine, suddenly they announced that the vaccine which they tried in so many of the monkeys, they have not been successful, and the virus is persisting. Already the human trials of over 1,000 people have already been done in Britain, but it is of less results. I mean, results have not come concrete. So what happens if this, if vaccine do not come, and as it is promised that by September it will come, and then Donald Trump again announced that by December it will come. So we have started living, we are to live with the virus. So whose immunity is fine, they will survive, and whose immunity is not there, they will perish.
Okay, yes,
So
yes,
very
that's
grim
true.
scenario. So that
So
is,
when we come back to the migrants, hello, am I audible?
Yes, even I would
Yes,
like to
yes.
come back to the
Kenuji,
migrants
yeah.
again.
Kenuji would
Yeah, I
like
will.
to-
I'm Kenu. Yeah, I'm Kenu Agrawal from Delhi. I'm a social worker here, and
Okay.
coming down to the migrants in this COVID-19
Yeah.
situation. So if we see the migrant workers, because in Delhi there were a large number of workers, and they wanted to go back to their home. So actually, nothing systematically has been done about the migrant workers right from the beginning. The first scene that we see, they all collected at the Anand Vihar bus station or wherever. Then the governments woke up what to do. So something should have been done in an organized manner. And if we realize they are facing two problems, one is going back to their homes because they don't have work here. Another is all their money that they have collected, or all the resources that they have collected in Delhi. Finally, they leave a lot of things behind, and they do go back with very little money or almost no money and very little goods that they have. And again, when they go back to their villages, and if we see most of the workers, they have families dependent on them, maybe one family or two families. Now when they go back home, they are left with no money and no job. So this is another problem, that we are facing. At least this problem, because taking the migrant workers to home, nobody took care. We can blame the government, mainly because the government, since the lockdown was brought down by the government, it was the government responsibility to take them. It's a bad scenario in Delhi. I've seen workers sleeping on road with their families because they had no place to live, they had no money to spend on themselves. And another situation that is coming up is how do they live again? There is a, as we see, they say ki, okay, there's a package of something like 20,000 crores or whatever it means, but where do these workers, because they're not even registered people. So like it's a very sad situation. One is they're facing the illness, one is they're facing the pandemic, how to save themselves from them, and another is the economic situation. It's a bad situation, it's a really bad situation, and something should be done. At least the government should wake up and they should plan something now. Thank you.
Yeah, madam, that if you have gone
Krishna
through
ma'am,
my,
sorry to
if you,
interrupt you. We
yeah,
can't
yeah.
see you. We really want to see your face, not your laptop screen. We can't able to
one
see you,
second.
please. Yes. Yes, Shadeshna ma'am, please continue. Okay, meanwhile, I think Dattatreya Raut sir would like to share something or have some question. Please ask. Dattatreya sir? Any other would like to share some points? Dattatreya sir, are you there?
Hello, ma'am.
Yes, yes, please. If you have...
Myself, Rinku Saini. I am from Himachal. I want to just point out some of the situations in case of migrant workers. Once we think, once we say if they are living from one state to another state, going to their home, so there are many problems. like industry may go down, first of all. And when they reach their home, there's a big responsibility on the states so that they will provide the livelihood to them. And next, maybe that they should not come back again at their place to work again. So all the state government as well as the central government, they need to take care of those things also. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Rinku sir. Highlighted points from Himachal. Jose sir, Father Jose, yes. I really
Thank
welcome
you very
Father
much.
Jose. He is a wonderful person, personally, and he is also our KAICIT fellow. Please, Father Jose, introduce yourself and please put some light.
I'm Father Jose. I teach philosophy at Christ University and here at Dharmara. Thank you, ma'am, for the good talk, and Swati for your initiative. Migrants are a burning issue. I'm originally from Kerala, now living in Bangalore, and all over the India. That's a serious problem. One thing I think we need to take, we can easily blame the government, rightly so, but all of us need to develop that sensitivity and solidarity. Gandhi told us, before you take a decision, consider how that would affect the Daritra Narayana, the poorest of the poor. So all of us, whether in terms of academia, in terms of social work, in terms of writing, let's consider, give the poor the first place. The government, I don't think, has any consideration for the poor. They have consideration for the votes. Even the Prime Minister, with all respect, his votes and popularity has gone up when most of us sitting here are blaming that decision on the lockdown, such a sudden one was bad. But I consider more deeply, the poor has no place in our hearts, in our homes, in our institutions. They are only on the margins. We do not think about them seriously. So we need to develop that sensitivity and solidarity with the poor, with the people actually suffer. There are many people, even small people, teachers, institutions helping the poor. I'm amazed at some of the stories that others do. One teacher whom I know, she has positively helped more than 6,500 people, giving them food, kits, and helping them, counseling. So different ways, I think all of us need to do something for the poor. And let's always consider, whatever your political background, religious background, cultural background, national, there are poor people around us, whether they are migrant workers or in our own place, there are migrant workers, more than 100 in a way, trapped in our place. We try to provide them food and the security and the counseling, whatever way we could do. And all of us can contribute more. Thank you for the initiative.
Thank you so much for this insightful talk. And if none of have any question or any suggestions, I really want to have something from Subrata, because I think she is willing to share some more points.
Am I audible? Yeah. I think we can also talk about, if we bring a gender issue, I don't know, because women migrant workers are actually, doubly jeopardized. And I have done a study on women workers in an informal sector in an urban setting. And I've also gone to the slums where I have found out that their health issues, their sexual abuse issues are also on the rise. and there is no social security system available, or even if it's available, they are not accessible to each and every woman migrant worker, and they are doubly jeopardized because they have this child care responsibilities, the reproductive responsibilities, the child rearing responsibilities, and they are also prone to various health risks, which also includes violence, domestic as well as the violence which occur due to sexual abuse. So as now they are spending nights on the roads and outside, they are also vulnerable to other risks. So can we also include the condition of the women migrant workers specifically? And whenever we are laying out key policy asks, or we are providing certain key policy recommendations, we should also include women migrant workers or women who are employed in the informal sector. I think 92% of women are employed in the informal sector, and they need to be taken care of. I think we can include them.
Yes, Father Joe. Yeah.
Yeah, no, this is a very important one. And I would request Dr. Swati in the next one, that feminine dimension, the gender, because they do suffer
Yeah.
more than any other.
I
They are the
agree.
poorest among the poor. And also another point, that the women leadership was much better. And many are pointing out their care and compassion that is necessary for humanity, rather than the patriarchal and the money-driven, market-driven society. For a society driven with values, we need mothers as leaders. When I say mother, those values of care and compassion. So may I request Dr. Swati, I understand that you have a series of talks, one on that
Yes.
feminine genius, that's the word that I use, the women leadership, the women that suffer, and how the women leadership could be. Even in the Kerala, the health minister being a
Just a
woman,
moment, Father.
we consider that he has
Shrikant
produced
sir,
some.
Shrikant sir, could you please mute yourself? That would be wonderful. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Shrikant sir, please mute yourself. Yeah, thank you so much, Father Jose, and that's really much needed nowadays. And one more session is upcoming on a very interesting topic, that sanitization in slums and how women are suffering a lot, and in this lockdown period particularly. So wonderful session right now, and some wonderful session is coming soon. So if anyone interested, they can join the next session also. And the next speaker for second session is so sorry for the interruption.
Dr. Swati,
Please.
Dr. Swati, can you mute everybody from there, from your end? Please mute everyone from your end.
Krishna ma'am, you are the host.
Yeah,
Please mute. Krishna ma'am, you are the host.
yeah.
Please mute.
Mine, everybody is. I mean, I request all of you to mute your.
No.
audios,
Mute
yes.
from your end. You can able to do that.
Okay.
Others, you can also have the key to mute others.
It is done, I think.
Yeah. So we will have another session on slum sanitation, and it's not done. Krishna ma'am, please.
महंगी दवा है जिसकी सरकारी रुग्णालय में सभी रुग्णों को
Who is not muted?
और ये
Shrikant.
उपचार की पद्धति है वो सब जगह सिमिलर हो और ज्यादा से ज्यादा रुग्णों को उसका फायदा हो, ज्यादा मरीज इससे बाहर निकले, इसको सब लोग जोर से काम कर रहे हैं। डॉक्टर साहब, बहुत बड़ी बात आपने बताया कि
Okay, you make me host. Click on my picture, there is 3 dots. You can make me host.
ये उम्मीद करनी चाहिए कि इससे जल्दी ही हम इस पर विजय प्राप्त कर लेंगे। जरूर। डॉक्टर साहब, आपका इसमें टास्क फोर्स में क्या पोस्ट है? जो टास्क फोर्स है तो
Not able to mute Shrikant.
बनाए हैं।
You just mute all. Do you have the button? Mute all.
Yeah.
जो हुए हैं का विश्लेषण करके
Mute all. Can you able to see the mute all? Okay, I think it's now the noise has not been coming. So some more session will be coming soon, and the next speaker for next webinar, she's from Coro, India. She's activist on right to pee. So I think the migrants, women sanitization and other issues will be addressed. And I think we are almost about to complete our today's webinar. And thank you so much for all the participants. And I really thankful to Dr. Sudeshna Shah in this short notice. She prepared this wonderful PPT. And ma'am, it would be wonderful if you share with all other participants because they would also love to have your PPT as well. Thank you so much, Kenuji, Father Jose, Dr. Chitrabroto. I don't know who are there, Dr. Aniruddha, Shubrata, of course, and all others. I may not able to take others' name, but thank you so much, all of you.
Hello, ma'am.
Yeah.
Hello, ma'am.
Yes, Rinkuji.
Ma'am, may I suggest something?
Yeah, please, please.
Ma'am, we have seen the PPT. Most of the images and the data, I think that is getting from the newspapers or social media or any news site, right?
Yes, yes.
Ma'am, actually, in my thinking, whatever on the news or whatever on the newspaper, they are showing the actual reality, ground reality. So we need to find out some authenticated more resources, more sources to just authenticate our topic that it is going that.
Absolutely,
Because,
Rinkuji,
yeah,
I support you. But in this lockdown period, it is not possible to, for a researcher to go there in the field and to do some data. But of course, it will be done. I think.
Yeah, ma'am, can I speak?
Yes, please. Sudeshna.
Yeah, actually, in this lockdown, and also this is so much, palpable, and it is a recent happening. So we have to rely on whatever lays our hands on. But of course, this will be a future research area. Research. I mean, it will be a great matter to delve more, deliberate more, and research more in the future to come. But as of now, it is absolutely a current happening. So I thought I will just rely on the current material which is available to me in this particular locked up and lockdown situation. So I use.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
And
it's about to end. So I welcome you all again in the next round of discussions. So whoever interested, they can share their views, feedback. We don't have such feedback forms in a formality way, but whatever you feel, you just share with us. And if possible, we will definitely publish something in our upcoming website. So if anyone would like to share their one paragraph, two paragraph points, bullet points, it could be your personal reflection, just send back to us with your name, with your designation, with your affiliated university. So it will be published online, and the website is upcoming. So the official email ID I have already shared. Again, I am giving you web, WEB 4, numerical 4, dialogue@gmail.com. So it's a web platform for dialogue. Any dialogue we will share, definitely. It may be criticize of others. It's not been very pro-governmental. It would be against government, anything, whatever you feel, free. Thank you for this wonderful session.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Thank you, ma'am.
Good night.
I could attend very late though.
Bye, good
Very
night.
good discussion.
Yes, Aniruddha sir, would you like to say something?
Yeah, actually, I could really join much late, so I really missed out on so much. Yeah, I had another program actually till 7:30.
It's absolutely fine, sir. We will share the PPT with you, and we need your feedback, of course. After reading the PPT, also you can share something, so we can have another follow-up session with Sudeshna ma'am. Maybe after some week, Sudeshna ma'am will have some concrete data, whatever Rinku sir suggested. So we can have another round of discussions, and we can have a follow-up session, of course. So,
actually, I have a problem on Wednesdays and Fridays at 7.
Okay.
That's the only issue.
Okay, Okay, sir, definitely. Please write back to us, sir. We really need your
Okay,
support.
Ma'am, can I request something?
Yes, yes, Rinku, sir.
Hello. Ma'am, I'm requesting that in future webinars, please do include us. So we need not to find where the advertisement is going on.
Okay, sure. Just share your email ID. Share your email ID with our given email ID. Okay. Share the email ID.
In this chat box?
In the chat box, yes. Please share your email ID in
Okay.
the chat box. So if anyone would like to have the e-certificate also, that they have participated in this webinar, they will get the e-certificate as well. Please write back to us, whatever you need, the PPT, the material from Sudeshna ma'am, the certificate, whatever you want, just write back to us. So we'll keep in touch.
Sure.
Thank you
Sure.
so much for this wonderful discussion.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Not only a one
Thank
way,
you.
it's kind of a round table discussions, more of a. Thank you, Sudeshna ma'am.
Great.
Again.
Yeah, great
Thank you so
discussion.
much, Swati ma'am. Meet you again. Bye.
Meet you again. Yeah, of course. Of
Yeah.
course.
Meet you
Bye.
again.
Bye.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm just writing.